There is a kind of tiredness that does not begin in the body, even though the body is where you feel it most. It lives in the shoulders that have forgotten how to drop. It lives in the jaw that holds words you were never allowed to say. It lives in the breath that arrives carefully, as though even breathing too deeply might take up too much space. And perhaps for a long time you have believed this tiredness meant something was wrong with you. Maybe you have looked at your body and wondered why it cannot simply relax, why it carries old alarms into peaceful rooms, why it tightens when love comes close, why it feels easier to give than to receive, easier to work than to rest, easier to hold everything together than to be held. Your heart already knows this. The body does not open because it is commanded. The body opens when it feels safe. And sometimes the soul has to feel safe first. You may have tried to heal by becoming more disciplined, more spiritual, more positive, and more aware. Yet something in you still tightens when life offers softness. You may have read the books, said the affirmations, changed your food, changed your habits, changed your thoughts, changed your surroundings, and still noticed that one small part of you remains braced inside. And if that is true, please hear this gently. You have not failed. You have been doing your best with a body that learned to protect you before it learned to trust. You have been walking through life with invisible armor, wondering why you feel heavy, when that armor was once the only way you knew how to survive. So much of what we call resistance is really protection that has not yet received new information. Have you ever noticed how difficult it can be to receive something kind without immediately feeling the need to give something back? A compliment comes and you shrink. Help is offered and you explain why you do not need it. Love arrives, and instead of resting into it, some careful part of you begins scanning for the moment it may disappear. This is not because you are ungrateful. It is not because you are closed. It is not because you are difficult to love. It may be because somewhere in your history, receiving did not feel simple. Maybe receiving came with conditions. Maybe support was followed by criticism. Maybe love was warm one day and withdrawn the next. Maybe rest was judged as laziness, tenderness was treated as weakness, or needing anything at all made you feel exposed. So your body became wise in the only language it had. It tightened. It watched. It anticipated. It prepared. It learned to keep you just far enough away from disappointment that nothing could completely break you. And now, in this moment, you are not here to shame that protection. You are here to understand it. What if your body has not been resisting healing, but waiting for your soul to feel safe enough to stop guarding the doorway? Let that settle for a moment. Your body may not be saying no to healing. It may be saying, "Show me that it is safe now. Show me that softness will not be punished. Show me that rest will not be taken away." Show me that receiving does not mean I owe my peace to someone else. Show me that love can come without a hidden cost. Show me that I do not have to earn the right to exist gently. There is such tenderness in this reframe because it removes the war. Instead of seeing the body as the problem, you begin to see the body as the one who stayed with you through every room you had to survive. The body carried you when your spirit felt too weary to keep going. The body absorbed the silence, the waiting, the shock, the disappointment, the loneliness, the pressure to be strong. It held your breath when crying did not feel safe. It held your belly when fear had nowhere else to go. It held your back when you had to stand upright in places where no one noticed how much you were carrying. How could we call that body broken? Perhaps the body is not broken at all. Perhaps it is faithful. And this changes everything. Because healing no longer begins with pushing the body to become different. It begins with speaking to the body in a new way, not as a project, not as an enemy, not as proof that you are behind, but as a beloved companion that has been waiting for your kindness. Your body does not need harshness to awaken. It needs safety. It needs the warmth of your attention. It needs the steadiness of your presence. It needs to know you will not abandon it when it speaks through fatigue, tension, emotion, or need. Receiving is not simply accepting gifts, compliments, money, rest, love, or help. Receiving is the moment your whole inner world decides it is no longer dangerous to be supported. That is why receiving can feel so tender. On the surface, someone offers you kindness, but underneath, old memories may rise. Old vows may whisper, "Do not depend on anyone. Do not need too much. Do not be a burden. Do not let yourself relax too completely. Do not trust what has not been proven over time." And yet your soul came here not only to give. Your soul came here to participate in the circulation of life, to breathe in and breathe out, to plant and harvest, to love and be loved, to offer and be nourished. Even the earth does not only give, it receives rain, it receives light, it receives fallen leaves and turns them into soil. Nothing in nature is ashamed to receive what keeps it alive. So why would you be? Notice your shoulders as you hear this. You do not have to force them down. Perhaps simply become aware of how long they have been working. Perhaps thank them quietly for trying to protect your heart. Your shoulders may have been carrying conversations that ended years ago. They may have been holding responsibilities that were never truly yours. They may have been trying to keep you ready for the next impact. And as you notice them, not with judgment, but with compassion, a small message begins to enter the body. I am listening now. This is important to hear. The body responds to relationship. It responds to the way you approach it. If you come toward yourself with accusation, the body often tightens more. If you come toward yourself with impatience, the body may feel rushed and unsafe. If you come toward yourself with shame, the body receives shame as another threat to survive. But when you come toward yourself with softness, something begins to change. Not always loudly, not always immediately, not in a way that can be measured in one dramatic moment. Often it begins as a tiny exhale you did not plan, a slight loosening in the stomach, a moment of warmth in the chest, a quiet tear that arrives without a story attached to it, a sudden desire to sit in silence, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, you do not have to keep fighting yourself. Have you noticed that real healing often begins quietly? It does not always look like transformation from the outside. Sometimes it looks like pausing before you say yes. Sometimes it looks like eating slowly. Sometimes it looks like letting someone help you without explaining why you deserve it. Sometimes it looks like placing a hand near the part of you that hurts and saying, "I am not angry at you anymore." And yes, I said not angry. Because many people are secretly angry at their bodies, angry for being tired, angry for changing, angry for aching, angry for needing rest, angry for responding to stress, angry for not looking, performing, digesting, sleeping, or healing the way they think they should. But the body hears anger. The body hears the sigh when you look in the mirror. It hears the criticism disguised as motivation. It hears the pressure behind the wellness routine. It hears when care becomes another form of control. What if your body is not asking you to control it more, but to befriend it more deeply? So many people speak to the body as if it is stubborn, but your body has been listening to every emotional room you have ever had to survive. It remembers the rooms where you had to be quiet. It remembers the rooms where your needs were inconvenient. It remembers the rooms where your sensitivity was mocked, your tears were rushed, your truth was minimized, or your love was taken for granted. The body remembers not because it wants to punish you, but because remembering was how it kept you safe. When a child learns that softness is not safe, the body may choose tension. When a heart learns that receiving can be followed by loss, the body may choose guardedness. When a soul learns that being visible invites judgment, the body may choose hiding. And years later, the adult self may wonder why freedom feels frightening. If you have been craving peace, but feeling uneasy when peace actually arrives, it may be because your system is learning a new language. Peace can feel unfamiliar to a body trained by unpredictability. Rest can feel unsafe to a soul that survived by staying alert. Receiving can feel threatening to someone who learned that every gift came with a string attached. This is why we move gently. This is why we do not force the flower open. We create the conditions, and the petals know what to do. Like a seed beneath the soil, something in you has been alive even in the dark. The seed does not curse the darkness. It uses it. It lets the hidden place become a womb, not a prison. And perhaps the seasons of your life that looked like delay were not empty. Perhaps they were preparing the roots. Perhaps they were teaching you the depth required to hold what you have been asking to receive. Your heart already knows this. Receiving requires roots. Without inner safety, even beautiful things can feel overwhelming. Love can feel too close. Abundance can feel like pressure. Rest can feel like guilt. Praise can feel suspicious. Support can feel like vulnerability. Your soul may want these blessings while your body asks, can we survive having them? This is why the work is not to scold yourself for closing. The work is to gently show yourself again and again that opening can happen in small, safe ways. Perhaps today receiving looks like taking one full breath without earning it. Perhaps it looks like letting the sun touch your face for a few seconds longer. Perhaps it looks like drinking water slowly and allowing yourself to be nourished. Perhaps it looks like saying thank you without shrinking, apologizing, deflecting, or returning the compliment immediately. Small receiving teaches the body. Every time you allow a small kindness to land, your inner world gathers evidence. Every time you rest before you collapse, your body learns that care does not have to come only after crises. Every time you tell the truth gently, your nervous system learns that honesty does not always lead to abandonment. Every time you let love be simple, your soul learns that support can be clean. And this is where healing becomes sacredly practical. We are not floating away from the body. We are returning to it. We are not using spirituality to escape old pain. We are letting spiritual truth become warm enough to touch the places where pain lives. We are bringing heaven into the breath, into the belly, into the hands, into the ordinary moments where you usually leave yourself. Feel the breath moving through your chest now, even if it is shallow. There is no need to change it by force. Let the breath be exactly as it is, and imagine that your awareness is sitting beside it like a kind friend, not pushing, not correcting, not demanding deeper breathing, simply witnessing. Your body has waited a long time to be witnessed without being judged. Somewhere along the way, you may have learned that healing meant becoming someone better, someone calmer, someone more radiant, someone more successful at spiritual practice, someone who no longer gets triggered, no longer feels fear, no longer carries grief, no longer needs reassurance. But healing is not becoming someone else. Healing is becoming more safely yourself. It is the slow return to the truth that was never destroyed, only covered. It is the moment you stop treating your tenderness as an inconvenience. It is the moment you realize that the part of you that still trembles is not behind. It is asking to be included. It is the moment you understand that your body is not a machine failing to perform. but a living archive asking for love. And what happens when an archive is opened gently? The old pages can be read, the old stories can be honored, the old conclusions can be questioned, the old vows can be released, not because they were foolish, but because they may no longer be needed. Maybe you once made a silent vow never to need too much. Maybe you promised yourself you would never be caught off guard again. Maybe you decided that if you stayed useful, pleasing, attractive, productive, quiet, or strong enough, you would finally be safe. And I want to say this with such tenderness. Those strategies may have helped you survive. We do not have to shame the old ways. We can thank them. We can say, "You helped me then, and I honor you. And now I am learning another way." That sentence alone can soften something inside, because the inner protector does not want to be attacked. It wants to know that you understand why it came. Have you ever tried to force yourself to relax and found yourself becoming even more tense? That is because the guarded parts of you cannot be bullied into trust. They have already lived through enough force. They soften through consistency. They soften through truth. They soften through your willingness to keep returning with patience, even when nothing appears to be changing. This is how the soul learns safety, not through one grand declaration, not through a perfect morning routine, not through pretending the past did not matter. The soul learns safety when your inner world becomes a place where every feeling is allowed to knock on the door and be met with compassion. Sadness can come, fear can come, anger can come, hope can come, desire can come, need can come. And instead of banishing them, you begin to say, "I see you, I hear you. You may sit here with me. You do not have to take over, and you do not have to disappear." This is emotional receiving. To receive is not only to receive what feels beautiful, it is also to receive the parts of yourself you have exiled. The needy part, the angry part, the tired part, the jealous part, the lonely part, the part that still wants an apology, the part that still aches for a kind of love you never received. These parts are not obstacles to healing. They are the children at the gate. And your soul feels safe when none of its children are thrown away. Let that settle for a moment. You do not become whole by rejecting the parts of you that still hurt. You become whole by turning toward them with enough warmth that they no longer have to scream. The body often carries what the heart was not allowed to express. So when the soul begins to welcome its own truth, the body may slowly release its old grip. This is not a substitute for professional care, loving support, or wise guidance when you need it. Your body deserves every form of support that is right for you. Spiritual compassion and practical care can sit at the same table. There is no conflict between honoring the soul and honoring the very real needs of the body. In fact, that is part of receiving too. Receiving means allowing help from life in many forms. The skilled practitioner, the nourishing meal, the honest conversation, the quiet walk, the boundary, the prayer, the therapy room, the medical support, the friend who listens without trying to fix, the moment of silence where you finally stop performing wellness and allow yourself to be human. What if receiving support is not proof that you are weak, but evidence that you are no longer abandoning yourself? There is a river within you that has been trying to flow around stones of old fear. For years, perhaps, it had to narrow itself. It had to move carefully. It had to find little channels through the rocks. But water is patient. Water does not hate the stone. It keeps listening for the path. Your healing may be like that river, not a battle, not a race, not a performance. A steady remembering of flow. When the soul begins to feel safe, the breath changes first, not because you force it, but because something inside you no longer needs to hold the world away. The inhale becomes less like taking in danger and more like receiving life. The exhale becomes less like defeat and more like release. The space between breaths becomes a room where you can meet yourself. Try this softly, only if it feels right. Let your next inhale arrive as though life is allowed to support you. Let your next exhale leave as though you do not have to hold every story at once. Nothing dramatic, nothing perfect. Just a small signal to the body, we are not in the old place right now. This is how new safety begins. It begins with small signals, a slower voice, a kinder inner sentence, a hand unclenching, a boundary spoken before resentment gathers, a meal eaten without punishment, a mirror moment without attack, a rest taken before exhaustion becomes the only permission. And when the body receives enough of these signals, it may begin to believe you. Not all at once, maybe not every day. Healing is not linear, and tenderness does not erase the complexity of being human. Some days you will feel open and trusting. Other days the old armor will return before you realize it. And when it does, this is not failure. This is practice. This is the body checking. Are we still safe? Are we still loved when we contract? Are we still welcome when we are not radiant? Can you offer yourself love there too? That is the deeper initiation. Not loving yourself only when you are peaceful, grateful, glowing, productive, and easy. Loving yourself when you are guarded. Loving yourself when receiving feels impossible. Loving yourself when the compliment bounces off, when the help feels uncomfortable, when the rest brings guilt, when the old story rises again and says, "Do not trust this." You can answer gently, "I understand why you are afraid." Those words can become a doorway. I understand why you are afraid. I understand why you learn to brace. I understand why kindness feels unfamiliar. I understand why ease feels suspicious. I understand why being supported feels like losing control. I understand why your body waits before it opens, and then slowly, we are learning now. Not, you should be over this. Not, why are you still like this? Not, after all this work, why are you not healed? Those words create exile. Those words send the frightened parts deeper underground. But we are learning now creates companionship. This is where the soul begins to feel safe, because it is no longer being dragged toward healing by a harsh inner voice. It is being accompanied. It is being given time. It is being invited. In the days ahead, you may begin noticing the small places where receiving still feels unfamiliar, and you can meet those places without shame. You may notice how quickly you say, "I am fine," when someone offers support. You may notice how often you rush through a peaceful moment, as though peace has to be earned by productivity. You may notice the way your body tightens when someone sees your goodness too clearly. Do not use these discoveries against yourself. Awareness is not a weapon. Awareness is a lamp. It simply shows where love has not yet fully entered. When you notice yourself deflecting, you might pause and let one kind thing land. When you notice yourself rushing, you might ask, "What am I afraid will happen if I slow down?" When you notice yourself pushing away support, you might whisper, "A small amount of help is safe for me to receive today." Small, safe, today. Those words matter because the guarded body trusts what is specific. Grand promises can feel overwhelming. Huge declarations can feel unbelievable. But small, safe moments are digestible. A small yes, a small pause, a small kindness, a small breath, a small boundary, a small opening. And every small opening tells the soul, we are not trapped in the old pattern. This is where healing becomes less about fixing yourself and more about creating an inner home where every frightened part of you can finally be welcomed. Imagine that within you there is a room. For years, perhaps, that room was crowded with old instructions. Be careful, be useful, be quiet, be pleasing, be strong, be ready, be perfect, do not need, do not ask, do not receive too much. Your cells, your muscles, your breath, your posture, your digestion, your sleep, your emotions, your energy, all of these are part of a living conversation. We do not need to make grand claims about what will happen. We can simply honor that the way you relate to yourself matters. The body feels your relationship with yourself. The body lives inside that relationship every day. So let the relationship become kinder. Speak to your body as someone you love, not with forced positivity, not with denial, with honesty that has warmth in it. I know you are tired. I know you have carried so much. I know you are doing your best. I am here now. I am learning how to care for you. You do not have to earn my love by being different. Something in you recognizes this. Maybe these are the words you wished someone had said to you long ago. Maybe this is the tenderness you kept offering others while withholding it from yourself. Maybe the soul feels safe to receive when it finally hears your own voice become a place of refuge. Your voice matters. The voice you use inside yourself becomes the weather your body lives under. If the inner weather is constant criticism, the body braces for storms. If the inner weather is pressure, the body prepares for demand. If the inner weather is shame, the body hides. But when the inner weather becomes compassionate, even imperfectly, the body begins to feel sun on its skin. This does not mean you will never struggle. It means struggle no longer has to happen in a climate of self-abandonment. That is a profound shift. You can feel afraid and stay with yourself. You can feel tired and stay kind. You can need support and still be dignified. You can rest and still be worthy. You can receive and still be powerful. You can be in process and still be whole. When that happens, you do not have to begin again from shame. You can begin again from presence. Place your awareness near the part of you that contracts and say, I see this, not I hate this, not I need to get rid of this. Simply, I see this. Seeing without attacking is one of the deepest forms of love. It tells the body, you can show me the truth and I will not punish you for it. Do you understand how healing that can be? Maybe your body has been saying, I am tired, and you answered with more effort. Maybe it said, I am overwhelmed, and you answered with more pressure. Maybe it said, I need tenderness, and you answered with self-criticism. There is no need to blame yourself for this. You were living from what you knew, and now you know something else. You know that your body is not asking to be conquered. You know that receiving is a sacred practice. You know that safety is not weakness. You know that the soul opens slowly when it is no longer afraid of being rushed. So let the next season of your healing be gentler than the last. Let it be less about proving and more about allowing. Less about chasing a perfect state and more about building trust in ordinary moments. Less about asking, why am I not healed yet? And more about asking, what would help me feel safe enough to soften right now? That question can become a companion. What would help me feel safe enough to soften right now? Sometimes the answer will be rest. Sometimes it will be movement. Sometimes it will be water. Sometimes it will be truth. Sometimes it will be silence. Sometimes it will be a boundary. Sometimes it will be reaching out. Sometimes it will be turning inward. Sometimes it will be allowing yourself to receive care from someone trained to support you. There is no single sacred answer. There is the answer that meets this moment with love. Your body knows moments. It lives in the now. It does not heal in the future where you imagine yourself finally perfect. It responds to the present where you choose one kinder breath, one truer word, one softer hand, one less act of self-betrayal. That is why small moments are not small. They are the doorway through which safety enters. And as safety enters, the soul begins to receive. It receives rest without guilt. It receives love without suspicion. It receives abundance without panic. It receives joy without waiting for it to be taken. It receives the body as it is today, not as a problem to hide until it becomes more acceptable. This is when something sacred happens. You stop delaying love until after transformation. You let love become the condition that makes transformation possible. Your body does not need you to conquer it. It needs you to come close enough to hear what it has been protecting all along. It has been protecting the child who learned to be careful, the younger self who wanted to be held, the heart that gave too much and received too little, the voice that went quiet, the hope that hid itself away because disappointment felt too sharp, the tenderness that never disappeared, only went underground. Come close to that tenderness now, not to demand anything from it, not to make it bloom before it is ready, simply to let it know you are near. Like sitting beside a small flame with cupped hands, not grabbing at it, not forcing it higher, just protecting it from the wind until it remembers its own warmth. You are allowed to heal gently. You are allowed to receive slowly. You are allowed to take in goodness one sip at a time. Somewhere deep inside, you have always known that love was never meant to be earned through exhaustion. You have always known that your worth was not created by productivity, beauty, usefulness, sacrifice, or silence. You have always known that the body is not separate from the soul, but one of the sacred ways the soul speaks. And perhaps now you can listen differently. When the body tightens, you can ask what it is protecting. When the heart closes, you can ask what it remembers. When receiving feels uncomfortable, you can ask what part of you still believes support is unsafe. These questions are not meant to interrogate you. They are meant to bring you home. Home to the breath, home to the body, home to the inner voice that says, I am here and I am not leaving. Let that voice become steady. Let it become familiar. Let it become the sound your body trusts more than the old alarms. And in time, perhaps, the parts of you that once braced against life may begin to lean toward it again. No rush, no force, no shame. Only the sacred practice of returning. Your healing does not have to be loud to be real. It may be happening in the quiet moment when you choose not to criticize yourself, in the breath where your belly softens, in the afternoon when you let someone help, in the morning when you place kindness before pressure, in the evening when you stop asking your body to apologize for being human. You begin to move differently, not because you are forcing confidence, but because you are less divided inside. You begin to rest differently, not because the world has become perfect, but because you no longer treat rest as something you must deserve. You begin to receive differently, not because fear has vanished forever, but because love has become stronger than the habit of refusing. This is your gentle return to the body as sanctuary, to the soul as beloved, to receiving as natural as breathing, to healing as a relationship, not a race. And if all you take from this moment is one small truth, let it be this: your body is not against you. It has been waiting for the sound of your own compassion. It has been waiting for your soul to feel safe enough to open the door. And now, breath by breath, you can begin. You can soften where you once braced. You can listen where you once judged. You can receive where you once apologized. You can rest where you once performed. You can belong to yourself in places where you once abandoned yourself. Your body has carried you this far. Let your love carry it now.